Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Jeremiah, which is Jeremiah, chapter 8, verses 20 through 22. The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt. I am black. Astonishment has taken hold on me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered?
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, Balm in Gilead.
Sometimes I feel discouraged and think my work's in vain, but then the Holy Spirit revives my soul again. Don't ever feel discouraged, for Yahshua is your friend. And if you lack for knowledge, he'll never refuse to lend. To
The oracles of the UCI, 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yahshua. I want to begin with our intro in Luke chapter 12, verse 48. It says, but he that knew not and commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Today's sermon is entitled, The Strength of Power and the Weight of Responsibility. The strength of power and the weight of responsibility. Power and weight go hand in hand. Everybody wants to be powerful, but it takes weight being pressed upon you for you to exercise that strength and grow in it. How we handle that weight really does have an effect on how we will eventually handle our power. Everybody can't handle power. Everybody may want power, but everybody cannot handle power. And it's something that we have to get accustomed to, because Yahweh has commanded some really great things for the children of Israel. The issue is we have had a lot of weight placed on us, but we have not been instructed on how to deal with power. So we have two things that we have to get accustomed to, because the nations have gone about their way to make sure that we feel powerless in every aspect of our being here. From the movies we watch, from the songs that we listen to, from the television programs to the commercials, everything is placed in a way that we will feel powerless. But when you examine the things that are written in this book, you find out that the very things that people are using to try to explain your weakness are actually the things that explain your power. Let's begin today's sermon in Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3. And we're going to start that at verse 1.
Hear this word that Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
And we do have Bible trivia today. So if you have not received the questions, please send an email. Please check your email first. And if you need questions, please send an email to the uci.org at gmail.com. Thank you.
Hear this word that Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your lawlessness.
Now, what we will focus on is the punishment. We will focus that Yahweh is punishing us. And this is what the nations want you to focus on. But your focus is on the part before that. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. But you see, when we are negatively influenced, when we are negatively motivated, a lot of times we pay attention to the negative part. Yahweh is punishing us. He will punish us for our iniquities. Iniquity is lawlessness. So we get so caught up on that we miss the power that comes before that. So right there you have power, and then the weight comes right behind it. You only have I known of all the families. And the weight. They're in the same sentence there. But which part do you focus on? Go ahead.
Can two walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him? Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid?
The trumpet means something. The children of Israel move when the trumpet is blown. So when the trumpet is blown in an alarm fashion, if the people are not afraid, there's something wrong with them. Don't you understand what this means? Go ahead.
You know, Elder, and that's the sad thing of depending on where you live, you don't get used to certain things. It's like those people that are in hurricane zones, they've got those horns that go off. Mm-hmm. That gets them used to hearing some type of an alarm.
Yep. And that alarm is the recording of a horn. They're mimicking a horn. Mm-hmm. Now, why they pick a horn? Why they didn't do drums or something? Why they didn't get a good talker? You know, hey man, hey, people love good talk. Why they didn't just pull out baka baka pow pow? Why that wasn't the sound? Okay, go ahead.
Shall there be evil in a city, and Yahweh has not done it? Surely the Adonai Yah will do nothing, but he reveals his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
Do you understand how deep that is? You're talking about Yahweh, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-powerful. But he don't move until he tell his people what he doing. Wait a minute. We think the more power we get, the less we have to explain ourselves. Wait a minute. How does the Elohim of the whole earth explain? Now look, y'all, this is what I'm finna, y'all come on, sit down. Look, let me explain to y'all what I'm gonna do. What? And we said, look here, man, look, I'm a grown man, dog. Look here. I'm gonna tell you where I'm going after I get back. What? What? Yahweh says something. Now, this is how you operate in power and grace. He don't have to tell us jack. He does, though. Now, that's grace and power. Go ahead.
The lion hath roared. Who will not fear? The Adonai Yahweh had spoken. Who can but prophesy? Publish in the palaces at Ashdod, and in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, assemble yourselves upon the mountains of Samaria, and behold the great tumults in the midst thereof, and the oppressed in the midst thereof. For they know not to do right, says Yahweh, who store up violence and robbery in their palaces. Therefore thus says the Adonai Yah, an adversary there shall be even round about the land, and he shall bring down your strength from you, and your palaces shall be spoiled.
Now, this weight is coming because there was responsibility attached to the power that you were given. So you can't have power without responsibility. Every bit of power comes with responsibility. You decide to get in a car, you are responsible for preserving the lives of everybody on the road that you encounter. Sometimes we focus on, hey man, I'm driving. We so happy. There's responsibility attached to that power. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh, as the shepherd takes out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out that dwell in Samaria in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch. Hear you and testify in the house of Jacob, says the Adonai Yah, the El of hosts, that in the day that I shall visit the transgression of Israel upon him, I will also visit the altars of Bethel, and the horns of the altar shall be cut off and fall to the ground. Then I will smite the winter house with the summer house, and the houses of ivory shall perish, and the great houses shall have an end, says Yahweh.
Some of this we don't even know to feel some kind of way about. Because we're so accustomed that the way you accomplish things is by, work, and maybe if you have the right connections, you can get into the right situation that will have you to acquire money. Or maybe if you go to the right school and get the right job, you can make a lot of money. Verse 15, I will smite the winter house with the summer house. Wait a minute, hold on. You're dealing with a nation of people who don't have no job, but they got winter houses and summer houses. I don't think you understand how bad we messed up. I don't think you understand how bad we screwed up. I'm getting ready to go on vacation. I got to rent a house. Imagine if that was already mine. Yahweh said you already had it. And you didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to go to college for it. It was yours because you were his. That's why you had it. And all we had to do to keep it was to walk. That's all we had to do. We didn't have to go work hard. We didn't have to go clock in. We didn't have to go do double time. We didn't have to go to school. We didn't have to do none of that. All you had to do was be Yahweh's servants. That's it. He says, wait a minute. I will smite the winter house with the summer house and the houses of ivory. What? What? Hold on. No, we had it going on. All of this we are doing, we ain't doing it to get something new. We doing it to get back what we lost. We already had paradise. But because we were looking over the fence, we thought something else was a better paradise than the paradise we already had. We looking at the neighbor's yard and saying, you know what, man, their grass sure is greener than ours. So you forsake your grass to go over there and play in nails, only to find out that was AstroTurf when you got over there. Too late now. You already sold your grass. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 43. Isaiah 43, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
But now, thus says Yahweh, that created you, O Jacob, and he that formed you, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name, you are mine.
Wait a minute. Yahweh is establishing that he has a extremely close relationship with Israel. Now, you can't have the plus of that and not deal with the negative of that. You can't deal with the closeness of being near Yahweh and not also suffer the heat of the power of being close to Yahweh. The fire is powerful, but the closer you get to it, the more you're going to feel the heat. Go ahead.
When you pass through the waters, I'll be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burnt, neither shall the flame kindle upon you. For I am Yahweh your Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt for your ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for you.
Now, why does he say that? Verse 3, for I am Yahweh your Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt for your ransom. Now, we can look at that situation and say, okay, we know that he saved all the firstborn of Israel when he came forth and dealt with Egypt to release Israel. But why does he say Ethiopia and Seba? And he mentioned those in line on the same level as Egypt. Why is Ethiopia and Seba in there? I wonder who was present for Bible study, because if you was, you know the answer to that question. Keep reading, bro.
Since you was precious in my sight, you have been honorable, and I have loved you. Therefore will I give men for you and people for your life.
So I will give men for you. Understand? He says, I have sacrificed these other nations so that I can preserve you. But what happens a lot of times when we receive something, it just becomes normal. Privilege is only privilege to the other people. Privilege to the person who's receiving it is expectation. Go ahead.
Fear not, for I'm with you. I'll bring your seed from the east and gather you from the west. I'll say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Whom among them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified.
Now, if you are Yahweh's witnesses, you have a serious power there, but it's also a weight. Go ahead.
Or let them hear and say, it is truth. Yea, pardon me, you are my witnesses, says Yahweh, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there is no El formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am Yahweh, and beside me there is no Savior. I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore you are my witnesses, says Yahweh, that I am Elohim. Yea, before the day was, I am he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I'll work, and who shall let it? Thus says Yahweh, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake I have sent to Babylon, and have brought down all their nobles, and the Chaldeans, whose cry is in the ships.
Right. Every time we read about the redemption of the children of Israel, it is connected to the destruction of Babylon. And all we have to do is look around. All right, even all the 7-day preachers, ask them who Babylon is. Not one of them going to say Germany. Not one. Not a one. Go ahead, preach.
Verse 15, I am Yahweh, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. Thus says Yahweh, which makes a way in the sea and a path in the mighty waters, which brings forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together. They shall not rise. They're extinct. They're quenched as tow. Remember you not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen.
Wait a minute. Verse 20. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my people. Wait a minute. He may send you to a place that's barren. He bring water to it because of you. Now the animals are blessed. It says the earth waits for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. The animals are going to be happy. Oh, man. This whole land is flourished since they got in. Go ahead.
This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise.
Now, you have to put some things together here. Yahweh said that he created Israel for his glory, and then he says they shall show forth my praise. Wait a minute. You got glory and praise, and all of that is in Israel. But don't think you're getting that without a cost. See, my mama told me a long time ago, ain't no free lunch. I said, Mama, but they got free lunch programs. She said, baby, ain't no such thing free lunch. Somebody paying for that lunch. You understand? Somebody got to pay for that lunch. Go ahead.
But you have not called upon me, O Jacob, but you have been weary of me, O Israel.
Now, look, automatically, the weight comes right after this power. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. But you ain't called upon me. Wait a minute. Automatically say, I've given you power, but wait a minute. What you ain't called me? Well, Rome said, you can't call nobody. Wait, he said, what? You ain't call me? But I put you in a position to have this power. You are supposed to show forth my praise. But you ain't called me. Go ahead.
You have not brought me the small cattle of your burnt offerings, neither have you honored me with your sacrifices.
Where are the offerings that you honor me with? Where are they? See, Yahweh watch when we go and we hang out and we go do all the things we do. See, you can look at somebody's bank account and tell what they love. They say, I love my God. And the people at the bank say, no, you love Magic City. Because I'm looking at the withdrawals. When I see the withdrawals, all your love is down. Future got your money. I'm looking at what you love. See, your account tell me what you love. Why do you think that they want access to all the things that you're searching for on the internet? You can say with your mouth what you love, but your account says what you love. So when you look at your account, don't tell me what you love. Go home and look at your account. Your account tell you what you love. They don't want that information for nothing. Ain't nobody caring about what you saying. They caring about what you spending your money on. That shows what you love. You can look at somebody's account and say, yeah, man, they're into football. Why? Because they bought every football program. They got every pair of cleats in here. They got headbands. They got wristbands. They got all kinds. They got shooter sleeves on. They got everything right here in their purchase history. They don't have to know you. They just look at what you spent your money on. So maybe what you think you love and what you actually love are two totally different things. A lot of people say they love their kids. And then you look in their account. How much of these things was for your kids? Oh, no. You don't love your kids. You love you. Because all these purchases are for you. None of these purchases are for the kids that you say you love. Go ahead, priest.
I have not caused you to serve with an offering, nor wearied you with incense. You have bought me no sweet cane with money, neither have you filled me with the fat of your sacrifices, but you have made me to serve with your sins. You have wearied me with your lawlessness. I, even I, am he that blots out your transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember your sins. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare you, that you may be justified. Your first father has sinned, and your teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse, and Israel to reproaches.
Jacob given to the curse is part of the weight of the power that was given unto him. You either walk in the power, or you're going to lay down in the curse. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. When you understand both sides of this, then you begin to get an inkling of an understanding that, wait a minute, it is very profitable for the nations for us to never find out who we are. Because if you don't know what the wait is for, you have already damned yourself thinking, you know, all of this bad stuff is happening to me. This weight is on me. I'm having to deal with all of these things. That's because you didn't understand what the power was for. There's nothing worse than getting something and you think it's for one thing, and you go out and blow it, only to find out that Yahweh gave that to you for something else. Uh-oh. The question is, did we wait long enough to figure that out? Leviticus chapter 26, and we're going to read verses 1 through 13.
You shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up an standing image, neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. You shall keep my Shabbats and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit.
Now, we don't know how to look at that in this moment in time. When he says, I'm going to give you rain in your due season, understand, he just told you he giving you money. You don't have to go to somebody else for your bread when you are producing everything for your own bread. We don't understand what we lost. And if you don't understand what you lost, then you don't understand the power of what it is you are actually supposed to be doing. So the adversary of the devil is very, very tricky. So when you don't know anything is missing out of your account, you don't know to be mad. See, there's not one robbery victim that went to the police station smiling. Not one. They knew they got robbed. But you know them people who got embezzled, you know they was smiling at their robbers every day because they didn't know they were robbing them. They was embezzling that money little bit by little bit, and the embezzler was coming up smiling. Good morning, Tom. Good morning. $2,000 missing out your account. You don't even know it. So you don't know to be angry. But once you know, now you know to be angry. So the adversary of the devil, so select, he got you to the point where you don't even know what to be angry about. You smiling at the things you ought to be mad about, and you mad about the things that you should be embracing. Now he good now. He good. Go ahead, Prince.
And your threshing shall reach on to the vintage, and the vintage shall reach on to the sowing time, and you shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And I'll give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I'll rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. and 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword.
Do you understand what kind of power that is? 5 of you shall chase 100. 5 to 100. And 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. That is the power if you walk in the covenant. Now keep them numbers in mind, because when we don't walk in the covenant, I want you to understand how upside down that number is. Go ahead.
For I have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. And you shall eat old store, and bring forth the old because of the new.
Now, he says he's going to give you so much that you're not going to be able to eat all of it. You're going to have to start storing up stuff. But remember now, you're still not having to clock in at somebody's job. All this stuff on your place. Go ahead.
And I'll set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I'll walk among you, and will be your Elohim, and you shall be my people. I am Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that you should not be their bondmen. And I have broken the bands of your yoke, and made you go upright. But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you break my covenant, I also will do this unto you. I'll even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague, that shall consume the eyes, and cause sorrow of heart, and you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
Now, this is the weight of that responsibility when we didn't take care. You have all of these things that are blessings. And a lot of times, we are told to either focus on one or the other. But to get a full picture, you have to focus on them both. You have to understand the power if you walk upright, and the punishment if you decide not to. Otherwise, you don't have a full understanding. Go ahead.
And I'll set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursues you.
Now, hold on now. Go back to that number. 5 chasing 100. 100 putting 10,000. But now you run and ain't nobody after you. Them numbers is something else. See, a lot of people can't understand that unless it's in number 4. It ain't real unless there's numbers. There go your numbers. Put them in your Texas Instrument. Tell me what you come up with. 5 to 100. And then nothing makes you take off running. I'm talking about a leaf falling. The leaf said, shh, and you were gone. Go ahead.
And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I'll punish you 7 times more for your sins.
Wait a minute. So now the weight of that responsibility of what we did not deal with then brings 7 times more for your sins. But let me show you where the adversary, the devil, then comes in. The adversary, the devil, then has his people telling you that you were cursed black. They won't tell you that you were cursed because of the covenant that you didn't keep. They need to make you think that the curse is for some other reason. Now you're looking at the things that are happening unto you, but you will never attribute it to the curses of Israel unless somebody tells you. The thing that nobody ever speaks of. Sunday morning church never mentioned the curses of Israel. The televangelist never talks about the curse of Israel. All they talk about is blessing. So when you start receiving something else, you don't know where that's coming from. You said there's no way this can be me. How can this be me? Because all they ever talked about were blessings. Go ahead.
And I'll break the pride of your power, and I'll make your heaven as iron and your earth as brass.
So now he has to take the power. When we don't walk right in the power, he has to take it. Go ahead.
And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase. neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. And if you walk contrary unto me, and will not hearken unto me, I'll bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sins.
Here go these numbers again. So I want you to remember these equations here. We got equations. 5 to 100. 100 put to flight 10,000. Now nobody after you and you took off running. And now 7 times more for your sin. Now wait a minute. Now you got 0 and 7 times negative. Boy, this number here, boy, hey, I don't know if you need an accountant for this, but I'm trying to tell you upside down. If you got 0 and you run and then you get 7 times punishment, boy, these numbers ain't looking good. Go ahead.
I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children.
Wait a minute. You already got 0 and 7. Now you getting robbed? Damn, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I ain't got nothing. Why you robbing me? Would you rob him? He got all this money. The money's falling out the car. I ain't got nothing and you robbing me? Go ahead.
And destroy your cattle, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. And if you will not be reformed by me by these
Wait
things,
a minute. So each one of the levels is supposed to make you turn back to Yahweh. But if the adversary, the devil, can make you think that you are just cursed, and that's why these bad things are happening unto you, you don't understand that each level, he's trying to turn you back to him. He's not doing anything to you because he hates you. He doing all that because he loves you. He's trying to get you to come back home. He ain't trying to kill you. But what do you think it's for? What do the nations tell you? Who has your ear? What are they telling you it's for? Go ahead.
but will walk contrary unto me. Then will I also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins.
There go another 7. I'm telling you, man. Hey, this equation. I don't know about E equals MC squared, but I can tell you this equation right here. This one ain't good. Cause these 7 time bad things keep happening, and we done already lost. Go ahead.
And I'll bring a sword upon you, that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when you are gathered together within your cities, I'll send a pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied.
Wait a minute, you're getting a percentage of what you had. Go ahead.
And if you will not for all this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you also in fury. And I, even I, will chastise you 7 times for your sins. And you shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall you eat. And I'll destroy your high places, and cut down your images, and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols, and my soul shall abhor you.
I would destroy your high places, cut down your images, cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols. Wait a minute. He said we had a tendency to worship those stocks. Stocks of wood is what they make their little idols out of. He said, I'm going to cast your carcasses upon your idols. And then he said, cursed is every man that hang from a tree. So wait a minute, what you using them trees for worship? All right, well, I'm going to leave your carcass on the very thing that you were worshiping. So you don't get a proper burial. And they had a tendency to hang our people and leave us out there. Same thing they do right here in these streets. A young black man gets shot, they leave the body sitting in the street for 5, 6, 7 hours and won't ever fully cover the body. That's to get in your head. Mean to tell me they can purchase a helicopter, but they can't purchase a sheet big enough to cover that whole man? Now they purposely leave a part of that dead body hanging out and let you drive right by it. Because they're doing an investigation. Go ahead.
And I'll make your cities waste, and bring your sanctuaries onto desolation, and I'll not smell the savor of your sweet odors. And I'll bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I'll scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
Now, part of the scattering is also to weaken your power. If he scatters you, then you don't get to magnify in one place and then take over the place. See, desegregation was a trick of the devil, but it also played into Yahweh's punishment. Because if so many of us stay in an area, we're going to eventually take over that area. I mean the representative, I mean the mayor, I mean everything. So we fail for the trick to scatter. But that's also part of our punishment. If we stay in one place and get power, now we think that we can bypass the punishment. Go ahead.
Then shall the land enjoy her Shabbats, as long as it lies desolate, and you be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Shabbats. As long as it lies desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Shabbats when you dwelt upon it. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee, as fleeing from a sword.
A shaken leaf will make you run as if you're running from a sword. But your power is supposed to be that 5 of you is supposed to run away 100, and 100 of you are supposed to put 10,000 to flight. But now a shaken leaf. Go ahead.
And they shall fall when none pursues, and they shall fall one upon another, as it were before a sword, when none pursues, and you shall have no power to stand before your enemies.
Now, this is what's going to really cause the nations a problem, because they have gotten accustomed to these people who run at a shaking leaf. When Yahweh sends forth the redemption of the children of Israel, you understand, you get that 5 to 100 and 100 to 10,000 number back. Oh, that's gonna blow their mind. Now you're gonna understand why they were always afraid. You see a 15-year-old kid and a heavily armed policeman said, "Well, I was afraid for my life." He got a spelling book in his hand. He was afraid of the kid with the spelling book? No. They're afraid of the kid at Leviticus 26, verse 8. That's what they are afraid of. Because they don't know when it's going to happen. Go ahead.
And you shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And they that are left of you shall pine away in their lawlessness in your enemies' lands. And also in the lawlessness of their fathers shall they pine away with them. If they shall confess their lawlessness and the lawlessness of their fathers, with their trespass which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept the punishment of their lawlessness, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Esau, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I'll remember the land. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Shabbats, while she lies desolate without them, and they shall accept of the punishment of their lawlessness, because they despised my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am Yahweh, their Elohim. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their El. I am Yahweh. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe.
All right, verse 46. These are the statutes and judgments and the laws which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel. Now, he says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. You are my witnesses. These are the statutes and judgments which I have made between me and the children of Israel. Wait a minute. Yahweh is really establishing a point of reference for his connection to Israel. That means Israel is supposed to be a representative to the rest of the people on the earth for Yahweh. And we know that we're always supposed to represent something. But without having his culture, we represent neighborhoods and colors and towns and whatever country we was born in. We ride around with a flag on the car. Half of us ain't never been to the damn place where the flag is. Oh yeah, this is Jamaican flag. I'm Jamaican. All right, well, when last time you been? Oh, I ain't never been. Well, I'll be damned. You ain't never been there? Flag everywhere. We know we're supposed to represent something. But without having the understanding of what we're supposed to be representing, we're representing something else. We're picking something to fill a void that we don't even know is there. We don't understand what that is. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. Most of the individuals who joined a gang said that they were looking for a family. They felt like they belonged to something when they joined a gang. They felt like somebody had their back when they joined a gang. They felt protected. Right. 1 Samuel chapter 8, and let's start that at verse 10.
And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you.
Now, he's not happy about their request. So he sends Samuel to counsel the children of Israel about their request. To tell them about their request. All right, let me tell you what it is you're requesting. Because sometimes we'll ask for something and we don't really understand what it is we're asking for. Because we don't understand what all's going to come with what we're asking for. All right? We'll ask for something and it's like, all right, and then you know now that's going to bring this, this, and this. So, Yahweh is explaining, all right, this is what you're asking for. This is what it's going to bring. Go ahead.
He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots.
Now, you're asking for a king. Understand that a king has to be set up. A king, there has to be a foundation for a king. Yahweh says, I'm your king. But you want a physical embodiment of a person naturally on earth as your king. Understand what that's going to mean if I set up a kingdom. Go ahead.
And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to air his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers.
So your daughters ain't cooking in your house, they cooking in here. Go ahead.
And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants.
Okay, so now we got an extra tax then. Because we owe Yahweh 10%. But then now he taking fields and stuff. Wait a minute. We just moved up in the tax bracket without moving up in the money bracket. You know, those things normally go hand in hand. You know, well, you done moved up in the tax bracket. Well, normally there's more money when you are taking more money. But if you taking more money, but I ain't made more money, I have more problem. Okay. Yahweh telling you. Go ahead.
And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants.
So now we at 20% tax then, right? Wait a minute, we owe Yahweh 10%, and now we just desire the king. Now we at 20%. Now keep in mind, now we at 20% on good times. Understand now that there's absolutely nothing about punishment or us doing wrong that's in this equation. We're at 20% on a good day. All we had before was 10%. This request takes us to 20%. Go ahead.
And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and you shall be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king which you shall have chosen you. And Yahweh will not hear you in that day.
When you don't hear Yahweh, he shows you what that feels like. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel.
Nevertheless, here is the power of Israel. You have so much power with your Elohim that even though something may be a bad desire, if you strongly request it of him, he will step back and he will give it to you. Just put your seatbelt on. Go ahead.
And they said, no, but we will have a king over us.
I understand everything you're saying. Now, the one thing you have to deal with, Israel was not fooled. They were not tricked. They understood. They made a decision with knowledge. They said, all right, you've told me all those things. Thank you for the information. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. Hey, you can't get mad at that. They understood it. They made the decision. All right, go ahead.
That we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles.
Now, this is one thing you have to question. This was the reason they will take 20% instead of 10%. That they will take the losing of their fields, their daughters, their sons, all of these things. That we may be like all the other nations. This has been our problem since our youth. We won't be like everybody else. If all the other kids got on these kind of shoes, we won't. If all the other kids wear these kind of clothes, we won't. Yahweh has made us a peculiar nation of people that we stand out amongst the crowd. But what we say, I don't be like everybody else. All of this, we accepted all of the loss just so we can look like everybody else. Go ahead.
And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king.
Check that out. Now Yahweh was the one that told Samuel, tell them this. He said, all right, you told them. All right, now go ahead and give them what they asked for. See, this is where we have to learn the responsibility of power. Having power with Yahweh means you are closer to his ear. But what are you going to say? There's the weight of responsibility. What are you going to say? You can't have power without our responsibility. There is an equation about power. Okay? Power versus control is a rather simple equation. If one has a large engine and small brakes, he gonna die. It's real simple. It's real simple. This is a real simple equation. Now, how is it that we can understand this on a natural point, but on a spiritual basis, this misses us? You can't spend all your time souping up an engine and you can't stop the car. The bigger the engine, the bigger the brakes. Every time I got ready to try to get some wheels for my vehicles, I wanted something on my truck, and I was doing some research on all right, what's the pros and cons of putting rims on a motorcycle? And I looked at some of the motorcycles, and man, it was wheels so big. I was like, man, them look like little people just in circle. I mean, the wheels is huge. I said, let me do some research. I started talking to the people, and they was like, hey, man, they're going to die. You can't control that vehicle when the rims get that big. I said, now that's interesting. Now, I did enough research before, and I knew, all right, the brakes got to be big. He said, oh, no. You got to change up your whole suspension. I said, now, wait a minute. Do I want to go? I saw some on motorcycle. I saw one, you could see the whole rim. It was beautiful. I said, man, that is nice. I looked on the other side. I said, oh, he got one brake rotor. So you can downgrade the brakes and go from 2 rotors and just put 1. That way they can see the whole rim. And you park the bike, you lean it on that side right there. You put it on the bike, you know what I'm saying? You turn the wheel to the side that ain't got the rotor on it, you know what I'm saying? And pow, you just sit there and you post up, But I did a little research. Yeah, they say you're going to die. You're going to die. Because you just cut your stopping power in half while increasing your rim size and the weight that is pushing that vehicle. Okay. Well, once I got the understanding of that, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna probably keep the 2 rotors. I'm gonna probably keep the two rotors. They won't be able to see my rims so much. And then they're not gonna see them even so much because I'm not gonna get the real big ones because I want to live. But those are decisions made upon diligent inquiry. And you have to go to who does that type of thing. I didn't go, when I said, all right, I want to decide whether or not I'm going to buy these large rims. I didn't go to the UCI website. We don't have nothing about rims on our website. No. I went to people's website that this is what they do. Okay. How is it that we can't understand that when it comes outside of natural things? We can research every part that we get for our vehicle. We can research every pair of clothing. We can research every event that we want to hang out with. But then when it comes to spiritual things, all of a sudden, we can't research that. All of a sudden, we don't know who that is. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. And you have to ask, how is Yahweh going to hold us accountable? See, the same thing that we have in our hand that we can do foulness with, Yahweh is going to say, didn't you have a computer in your hand? I don't understand what you're saying, Yahweh. Now, you told me that you couldn't figure out how to do such and such. But didn't you have a computer in your hand? Oh, well, yeah, I guess I did. Oh, okay. Isaiah chapter 30, and I want you to read verses 1 through 7.
Woe to the rebellious children, says Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me.
Now, he offers them woe. He said, because you ain't asked me. Who you asking? Go ahead.
And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth.
Wait a minute. Because we believe that we can go somewhere else and be more protected. Whoa. Did you ask me, could you go down to Egypt? Now, does Yahweh make a ridiculous request here? Didn't he say I don't do nothing unless I tell my servants, the prophets first. So did he ask you something unreasonable? Go ahead.
Now, during the time when Yahweh was telling his servants, is it Yahweh's fault if you were asleep while it was happening? Or you left the room?
Right.
It's your duty to come back and ask somebody or to go rewind a video or something.
Oh, most
Check it
definitely.
out, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Trust in the shadow of Egypt, thinking that I'm going to be protected because I will be with these powerful people. Go ahead.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
The trust in the shadow of Egypt is going to be confusing. Go ahead.
For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be in help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beasts of the south into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon their shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose.
Right. I don't care what kind of power they got. I don't care none of that. None of that's gonna matter, because I created you for my glory. You have been created for my praise. All they help ain't gonna help you. I don't care what they got. I don't care how strong they are. They ain't gonna be able to help you. He says, I'm gonna make their help in vain. Yahweh ain't taking no back seat to nobody. So if you got a little baby seat in the back, and you said, well, Yahweh, you sit there. Who you talking to? Who you talking to? You think Yahweh finna sit in that seat? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still.
Right. Their strength is to sit still, which is the one thing we can't do, especially when we under some pressure. 2 Kings chapter 1. So Yahweh has placed great power upon Israel. But the nations have to convince you that you don't have any. Imagine how confusing it had to be to Yaakov that this man who's richer than him, the blessings come into this man's house because he's there. Then the man deceives him so that he can make him stay there and receive more blessing. 2 Kings chapter 1, and let's read verses 1 through 16.
Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab, and Ahijah fell down through a lattice in the upper chamber that was in Samaria, and was sick. And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go, inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the angel of Yahweh said to Eliah the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not an El in Israel that you go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron?
Now see, now Yahweh pissed. Wait a minute. So you sick, but you gonna go ask another god if you gonna recover? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Now therefore, thus says Yahweh, you shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but you shall surely die. And Eliah departed.
Now, what's causing him to die is who he asked. Who's to say that the disease was a disease that one was supposed to die from? No. His death didn't come from the disease. His death came from he consulted the wrong entity. And we won't go to another god. We'll just go to another individual who worships another god. Go ahead.
And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go turn again unto the king that sent you.
Now, you know that's some deep stuff when you on the way to go do something, but you ain't done it, and somebody met you and told you what you were about to do was in vain. Now go back to the dude who sent you. Wait a minute, how you know where I was going before I got there? Go ahead.
And say unto him, Thus says Yahweh, Is it not because there is not a El in Israel, that you sendeth to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore you shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but shall surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you?
So who was this man? Now this is important right here. Keep reading.
And told you these words. And they answered, He was an hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Eliah, the Tishbite.
All he had to know was he was hairy and he had a girdle. He said, Oh, that's Eliah. So the angel of Yahweh can look at who you talking to and know if it's one of his servants. He said, did you ask the hairy man? So when the angel looked down and said, Who that smooth fella? That smooth faced fella you talking to? Who the hell is that? Because I know it ain't that one of my servants. I was like, Who the hell is that? I'm looking, I see you talking. But I'm trying to figure out who the hell you're talking to. Because I mean, that fella got the face of a baby's ass. I'm trying to figure out who is that? Because damn sure ain't one of my servants. Because he said, look at when he said, what did the man look like? He said, oh, he was a hairy man. Oh, damn, that was Elijah. That's all he had to hear. Because he knew what Yahweh servants look like. All right, who is the baby ass face dude that you keep talking to? Because it ain't Yahweh servant. All he had to have was that information, and he knew what the deal was. Oh, no, that's Elijah. Okay. Go ahead.
Then the king sent unto him a captain of 50 with his 50. And he went up to him. And, behold, he sat on the top of the hill. And he spake unto him, You man of Elohim, the king has said, Come down. And Eliah answered and said to the captain of 50, If I be a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again also he sent unto him another captain.
Now look, they coming for another man. And they getting burnt up. Go ahead.
With his 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of Elohim, thus has the king said, Come down quickly. And Eliah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of Elohim, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And the fire of Elohim came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And he sent again a captain of the third 50 with his 50.
All right, now, this man is very diligent. And you know, it's easy to be diligent when it's somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of his people got burnt up, like in his family. Just servants. So he can keep on sending servants. He got a lot of those. Go ahead.
This your General Lee from way back then?
Hey. He keep going up the same hill. Keep losing. But watch the power of approach. Go ahead.
And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Eliah.
Wait a minute. He said, look here. And now, he went and fell on his knees before the hairy man. He said, wait a minute. I got to be careful how I approach this. Several groups of people done already died running up to this man. No. I need to let this man know. Hey, hold on, bro. Hey, can we talk? Hey, how you doing, bro? You Elijah, right? The hairy one with the girdle on his loin. How you doing? Look, can I say something? Oh yeah. He changed his approach. Go ahead.
And besought him and said unto him, O man of Elohim.
Now the question is, if he does not have the information about the two other groups of 50, does he approach right? Oh, information is a mother. Does he approach right if he does not know that? If Uzzah had understood, would he have put his hand on the altar when the oxen shook it? If somebody had given him that information, would he have put his hands on it? Go ahead.
O man of Elohim, I pray you, let my life and the life of these 50 your servants be precious in your sight. Behold, there came fire down from heaven and burnt up the 2 captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore, let my life now be precious in your sight.
Wait a minute. I said, look here. I done heard. I heard from a bird, but what be happening over here? You know what I'm saying? This ain't no barbecue pit, but it's been barbecuing going on over here. Wait a minute. That information was vital. Because he approached differently. He didn't walk into this like some lamb being led to slaughter and don't understand what's going on. He had information. He didn't walk up there the same way they did. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto Eliab, Go down with him, be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him unto the king.
All right, that's as far as I want to go right there. Let's go to Hosea chapter 4.
(9:23).
Appreciate it. Chapter 4, and we're going to read verses 11 through 14.
Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declares unto them. For the spirit of whoredoms has caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their Elohim. They sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains, and burn incense upon the hills, under oaks and poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, and your spouses shall commit adultery.
So Yahweh equates us not doing the things that we're supposed to do with him as adultery and whoredom. So to make us understand, he then brings adultery and whoredom inside of our house. Will you understand that when it show up? Go ahead.
I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom.
Now, not only will the whoredom come to the house, but I ain't going to punish them when they do it. Now, you know, that's going to be real confusing now. Because Yahweh deals with Israel about the things that we do, but then all of a sudden you're going to witness whoredom, but then no judgment for it. Go ahead.
Nor your spouses when they commit adultery.
Wait a minute. Your spouses, the one you care for, going to turn and play the whore. And Yahweh won't do nothing to him. Will you be able to backtrack and say, I know why I turned wrong? Go ahead.
For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people that does not understand shall fall.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 2. Jeremiah chapter 2, and let's start that at verse 26.
As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, saying to a stock, You are my father, and to a stone, You have brought me forth. For they have turned their back unto me, and not their face. But in the time of their trouble, they will say, Arise and save us.
Right. So now, Yahweh said, all right, so you give these entities credit. All right. When the time of your calamity comes, I'm going to sit back and I want to see if they save you. Now remember, he had already said you're going to run down to Egypt, but it ain't going to do you no good. You're going to go down there. They're going to be strong, but somehow their strength not going to help you. Go ahead.
But where are your gods that you have made you?
Uh-huh.
Let them arise, if they can save you in the time of your trouble. For according to the number of your cities are your gods, O Yehuda. Wherefore will you plead with me?
Now, it matters to Yahweh when you talk to him. See, when we get in trouble, now we want to talk. Wait a minute. You couldn't call nobody. Wait a minute. You talking now? You in trouble? Well, you went down to Egypt. You ain't called me. You made this. You did that. You did all those things. You ain't called me. But now you in trouble. All of a sudden, I look up my phone ring. Now, put yourself in his shoes. You got somebody who don't do nothing. They don't ever call you till they need some money or they in trouble. How many times you gonna answer that phone? They was in their happy days. They ain't call you. They ain't even say, "Hey, what up, dog? I'm just hollering at this your boy." No, none of that happened. None of their happy days. They don't call you. They don't do any of that. But the day they in trouble, all of a sudden, you getting multiple calls. How many times are you going to answer that phone before you finally get fed up? Go ahead.
You all have transgressed against me, says Yahweh. In vain have I smitten your children. They received no correction. Your own sword had devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. O generation, see you the word of Yahweh? Have I been a wilderness unto Israel, a land of darkness? Wherefore say my people, we are masters. We will come no more unto you. Can a maid forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me days without number.
And that's what happened when we are receiving. Sometimes the good part of those blessings, the power, the strength that comes, sometimes causes us to forget. Go ahead.
Why trimmeth you your way to seek love? Therefore have you also taught the wicked ones your ways.
Right. When we hang out with the heathen, they watch what we do and they say, "Oh, hey, man, you don't understand that their eyes are upon you." You are teaching them just by what you do. You ain't got to open no book and read. No, they watch how you move. They watch how you dress. You are teaching them. And what you going to do when they are brought into judgment, they say, "Well, I got this from what's your name? I knew he was a servant of yours, and I figured if he doing it, it was cool." Now, what you going to do? Because remember now, when there was a situation between Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, Yahweh said, "Oh, no, come out you three." When there's a situation between Adam and Eve, he said, no. I'm going to deal with y'all and the serpent that tricked y'all. What you going to do when the heathen said, "No, I got this from one of your servants"? I mean, surely, I figured if it was one of your servants, they wouldn't have done it if it was wrong. That's why I've been doing it. Matter of fact, I did it 10 times. Because I figured your servant did it. It must be cool. It must be right. Now, what you going to do when Yahweh come back and he bring you that? Go ahead.
Elder verse 33. Why trimmeth you your way to seek love? Trimming, cutting, shaving. Off of your culture, your ways, the way you operate to please somebody that you trying to be in love with.
Well, that's what we do. Hey, man, sometimes let us go on a date. Oh, man. We'll cut hairs we ain't even seen in a while. Come to see Yahweh and forget to take a bath. Right. Oh, Yahweh says he's a jealous Elohim. Oh, he sits there and he watches. Oh, damn, you sure getting prepared for something. Where you going? I mean, when you come to see me, you ain't even bathe. I'm damn it. What is that? Damn, is that brute? What is it? Damn. You getting mighty spiffy, ain't you? Right. Oh, he's a jealous Elohim. but he just gonna sit back and watch. Oh, wow. Damn, you watched your car too, didn't you? Wow. Damn, you vacuumed it? Wow. You came to see me, you opened the door and a whole bag of McDonald's fell out on the ground. Wow. That's interesting. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Also in your skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these. Yet you say, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I'll plead with you, because you say, I have not sinned.
So he has to go out of his way to show us what we've done, so that we understand what he's doing. Because when you don't understand, you think that, what was me? Why is this stuff happening unto me? Go ahead.
Why gaddeth you about so much to change your way? You also shall be ashamed of Egypt, as you was ashamed of Assyria. Yea, you shall go forth from him, and your hands upon your head. For Yahweh has rejected your confidence, and you shall not prosper in them.
Now, my elder told me one of the mistakes that he made was that he saw something and he had to have it. He told me that he didn't ask Yahweh anything. It was in his power to do it, so he did it. He later told me that it was one of the greatest mistakes of his life. Let's go to Luke chapter 15. Now that information was exceptionally vital to me when I got ready to make some moves. I didn't know how important the information was when I got it. That's the funny thing about information. It is normally not of value when you receive it. It is of value later. So you may be receiving valuable information at a time that it's not valuable. See, Microsoft's stock was worth like $1 when they told Magic Johnson to buy it. He said he would have been a billionaire. And he passed on the offer. See, the information wasn't that valuable at the time that he received it. So sometimes you'll get something and it may not seem valuable. Give it a little bit of time. Now all of a sudden that information that you was halfway listening to, now you're trying to recall, oh damn, I was going I wasn't paying attention. Wait a minute, what was all that thing? Because I remember this. Wait a minute. Now all of a sudden the value has dramatically increased. Why? Because you're in that situation at the present moment in time. So be careful the value of what you put upon something. The situation just hasn't come about yet for you to understand how valuable that is. Luke chapter 15, and let's start at verse 11.
And he said, a certain man had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want.
Now, understand there was a process. And this is the thing about life. And it was the younger son. He doesn't know he has money now. But you don't really understand that money it create wings and fly. 2 events happen. You have to back up and look for those events. He didn't just begin to be in want. No. Riotous living and then a famine. Wait a minute. You ain't counting on the famine. All you doing is counting what you got. But wait a minute. There's something else that is beyond your control and knowledge. When those 2 things happen back to back, now he is in want. See, it took me to blow some money when I was younger to learn how to operate with money. Oh man, I got some money when I was younger. Boy, I was spending that money, I was asleep. They ain't even have online shopping like that then, boy. And I was gone. I woke up and I was seeing $100 bills just flying right out the window. I was spending it. I would wake up with a thought. Now, I'm halfway down to go get whatever that was I just was dreaming about. It took flight. So sometimes you can have substance too early and it will cause you a bigger problem. Because at this point, now you have the means, so you go to follow your dreams. But you can't be so busy following your dreams that you destroy your reality. Go ahead.
And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him.
Now, he had much substance, and now he eating the pig slop. And the pig eat leftover food. Everything that's left over, that's what you feed the pig. You just throw it in a bucket, everything, and the pig eat everything. You eat the corn, the pig eat the cob. Go ahead.
You know, Elder, it says, and he joined himself onto a citizen, and further says none of them would help him. How many of them actually saw him while he was blowing it? How many of them was actually partaking while he was blowing all his money?
That's an interesting question.
And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger?
Now, was it his pride that kept him out there? And then he had to come to himself as the pride came down. How much pig slop did he have to eat? For the pride to come down, for him to say, you know what, the hell with this, man. I know where food at, and it ain't pig food. Hell, I know where it's at. Go ahead.
And I'll arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. And I'm no more worthy to be called your son. Make me as one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him, and had compassion, and ran, and fell on his neck, and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven, and in your sight, and I'm no more worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found. And they began to be merry.
Right. He's rejoicing over his son coming to this understanding. Go ahead.
Now his eldest son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Your brother is come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he has received him safe and sound. And he was angry, and would not come in. Therefore came his father out, and entreated him. And he answering said to his father, Lo, this many years do I serve you, neither transgressed I at any time your commandment. And yet you never gave me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this your son is come, which has devoured your living with harlots, you've killed for him the fatted calf.
Wait a minute. Word done got around. Cause he had those harlots over there. Wait a minute. See, people don't buy their whores on the same street they live on. What? Well, they go across town to buy their harlots. No. The word done came around. No. He wasted your money hanging out with harlots. Now you throwing a party for him? So you have the other son upset with what's happening right now. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Son, you are ever with me, and all that I have is yours.
Now wait a minute. Which one wasted his money with riotous living? The younger son, right? Okay, wait a minute. If he the older son, he already getting the double portion. Everything in that house is falling to him. He's getting a double portion of what the father has. So it would have been exceptionally crazy if he would have went off, because he automatically gets the biggest part of the inheritance. But the daddy got to explain that to him. See, sometimes the firstborn don't even know they the firstborn. Ishmael wasn't the firstborn. Ishmael was Abram was his dad. See, sometimes folk don't know that they're supposed to be walking in the firstborn because they don't know that's what they are. Grant?
It was meet that we should make merry and be glad, for this your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found.
Right. So this is a soul warming party for him coming back. I remember when I got my house, my mama threw me a housewarming party. But the party wasn't mine. That party was my mama's party. You got to understand, them same people, it was more of people who worked with her that were in that party than my friend. That was my mama party. That was my mama opportunity to enjoy what her son has accomplished. Did the same lady that every time I got kicked out of school, she had to come get me. Them same people was in the office when she got them called.
Wilhelmina, Lakeside on the phone. Wilhelmina, McNair on the phone. Wilhelmina, Hamilton High on the phone. Wilhelmina, Washington County High on the phone. Wilhelmina, Open Campus on the phone.
That them same people. So when her son got himself together and bought his own house, she invited every last one of them people that was in that office. Now come party with me. Because this my son that was dead is now alive again. Now come party with me. I wasn't confused. And I knew not to take that from her, because damn it, she earned that. Come on, mama, throw you a party in my house. This your party. So you can celebrate in front of all those people that said,
I know you ain't still believing in that boy. That boy's trouble. That son of yours has been trouble since trouble's been trouble. That boy just breathes trouble. He's just so much damn trouble. Oh, my goodness. Your son can find trouble if you blindfold him, tie his hands, and lock up one foot, and somehow he can hop right to where the trouble is. That's your boy.
right. So she said, come party with me. With the son that was lost. I knew exactly what that was. But you know, sometimes you can come into something and not be prepared. Brother, I want you to read this. This was like a news story that they did about people who won the lottery. See, sometimes you can come into something and not be ready for what you have. And it might end up causing you some issues. So I want you to start reading the marked parts of that. Start at, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Everyone will ask you for money.
Now these are, it says, rip up the winning ticket. 5 reasons why winning the lottery can destroy your life. Go ahead.
In 2006, Sandra Hayes won the Missouri lottery, splitting the $224 million prize with 12 co-workers. She wrote a book called How Winning the Lottery Changed My Life, and said in a 2012 Associated Press article how hard of an adjustment it was after winning. I had to endure the greed and the need people have, trying to get you to release your money to them, Hayes said in the article. That caused a lot of emotional pain. These are people who you've loved deep down, and they're turning to vampires, trying to suck the life out of me. Abraham Shakespeare, who in 2006 won $17 million in the Florida lottery, said so many people were asking him for money that he reportedly told his brother, I had been better off broke. Becoming a target. After winning his jackpot, Shakespeare met a woman named Dee Dee Moore, who reportedly wanted to write a book about his experiences and manage his money.
All right, she gonna do him a service, right? Go ahead.
In 2009, Shakespeare was killed and his body was found under a concrete slab at the home of an acquaintance of Moore, who was arrested in connection with Shakespeare's death. In 2012, Moore was sentenced to first-degree murder and life in prison.
Right. Just see, and you don't have to win the lottery to get into this kind of situation. All you have to do is to have something more than the people in the circle that you're in. All you got to do is win a job at UPS. You ain't got necessarily to win the lotto. Go ahead.
Uroj Khan of Chicago won a $425,000 lump sum lottery payment in 2012. But before collecting his winnings, he dropped dead. An autopsy revealed he died of cyanide poisoning, and police ruled his death a homicide. Police are still looking for the people responsible.
Right. So you know, this thing, sometimes getting something before we learn all of the power and strength and weight and responsibility may end up causing us some serious issues, because we're not accustomed to constantly looking at every corner and everything. We're not accustomed to that. Go ahead.
Gregory Burke won almost $435,000 in the Georgia lottery in November 2015. 2 months later, he was found dead in his home from gunshot wounds after robbers entered his house and demanded money. Strained relationships. Having to turn down requests for help and risk broken relationships with families or friends is common for lottery winners. After winning the lottery, Hayes told the St. Louis Dispatch in 2012 a story about how a friend she had known for years asked for financial help to help pay 3 years' worth of back taxes. The friend said she was about to lose the house, but after searching a government website for tax records on her friend's property...
Wait a minute, she did due diligence. She didn't just believe what was being told to her. She did some research. Go ahead.
Hayes found out the taxes were paid in full. After Hayes printed that page out and mailed it to her friend, they didn't speak again, according to the article.
That ended the friendship. Research ended the relationship. Go ahead.
Guilt and boredom. When winning the lottery,
Eliminates.
When winning the lottery eliminates the need to work, the desire to indulge in pleasures often fills the void left by pursuing achievements. When the luxury items are purchased and the vacations are taken, the excitement wears off, and it is easy to have a feeling of, now what? The lottery does change people, but sometimes for the worse.
All right, so you got everybody coming into this money. Now, we read this story about the prodigal son. It's going to be the last thing that we're going to read right here on the lottery. Read this.
According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within a few years.
70% of them go bankrupt. So we may be looking at a story and we read this in the Bible and we say, this is just a story. See, I watched my brother come into some money, and I watched that blessing turn into a curse. I watched what it did to him and the changes that he went through, and he was better off without that money, because it really, really brought some trouble in his life, and it was trouble that he just could not recover from. But we would look at it and say, hey, all money is a blessing. That is not necessarily the case. Let's go to Acts chapter 28. And everybody say, if they had, I ain't never going to lose. Nobody ever plans on losing. Okay? Not one kid, when you went to career day, what are you going to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a crackhead. I'm going to be at the Glenwood car wash at 2 a.m. doing the funky chicken. Not one kid said that. Not one. But life happens. Go ahead, bro.
And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire, and received us everyone because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Saul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he has escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffers not to live.
Right. They see a snake bite him, they say, oh man, the man must be a murderer. Why? Let me tell you something. When you get bit by a venomous snake, you have to have antivenom. And if you don't get the antivenom in enough time, you're going to die. It's a done deal. So they got to go get the snake and make, in some cases, the antivenom have to be made immediately. So at this point, they're just sitting around waiting. Oh, he's going to die any moment now. Go ahead.
And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Howbeit they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god.
Now they changed their minds and said that he was a god. The power of Elohim has covered him in a situation that he should not have been covered. These people are in awe. How many times have we just shaken off some things that should have taken us out? We get protected and we don't even take, we just shake it off. He shook it off and kept doing what he was doing. They waiting around for him to die. He not even waiting. But have we now gotten so accustomed to the power that we just now expect Yahweh to take care of us? So we get into a near-death experience. It don't even cause any change in us. We just be like, yeah, y'all got me. Okay. How long before he get pissed off? How long before he get pissed off? Go ahead.
In the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Saul entered in, and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when this was done, others also, which had diseases in the island, came and were healed.
Right, they come to the same one that they thought was a murderer. Do you stand and walk long enough for somebody's decision about you to change? Go ahead.
Who also honored us with many honors, and when we departed, they laded us with such things as were necessary.
All right, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Now, what if he just, they start looking at him funny and saying, oh, man, he a murderer. What if he just got mad and left?
Man, these people questioning who I am. They think I'm a murderer. This guy got bit by a snake. I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
Now, Yahweh don't get the glory that he's supposed to get. Wait a minute. He says, I created you for my glory. Why can't he get some? Why can't he get some of the glory that he created you for? Oh, I'm sorry, you got into your feelings and you left the room, so Yahweh never got an opportunity to get the glory from the bad thing that happened to you. He let the bad thing happen to you so he can create a better thing with you. Why can't he get glory in that? Why? Why can't he get that? Don't we owe him that? Go ahead.
At least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
Right. So then, we have all of this power. Now look, now you got power and weakness right behind each other. He can heal other people. He get bit by a snake. He can shake it off. Yet he has a thorn in his flesh that Yahweh won't heal and won't allow him to heal. This is when the power and the weight part starts to get a little confusing. But there are certain things that Yahweh leave among us so that we don't magnify ourselves. Some of us been trying our best to lose weight and can't figure out why we can't lose it. How much of your vanity gonna be activated when you lose it? Because you know, when we lose weight, we put on the smallest shirts, the smallest pair of pants, and boy, we be just a flexer. Oh, we get all greased up. Oh boy, and the first, you can tell when we lost that weight because the first 30 pictures is just of us. Oh yeah, yeah. You ever consider that he is like, no, I'm trying to save you from you. No, I'm gonna let that chubby belly sit right there. You know what I'm saying? Me and that chubby belly, we in a relationship. I'm not gonna depart with it. See, because I need you to stay you. See, and you gonna turn to something else if you lose that chubbiness. So come on, chubby, let's go. Hey, his job is to maintain a relationship. And anything that will cause a rift in a relationship, it is of no purpose to him. You might well win a lotto and forget about him. It'll be the same. Go ahead, brother, you finish that?
For this thing I besought the Adonai 3 times, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
Right. Can we allow ourselves to be weak so that his strength can be made perfect? Let's go to Judges chapter 16. Judges chapter 16, and let's start there at verse 1.
Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gates of the city, and the 2 posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of an hill that is before Hebron.
Now, Samson has enormous physical strength. Inside, Samson not that strong. But his outer strength is amazing. But that inner strength about to be tested. And he has a slight little desire problem that keeps getting him into trouble. Go ahead.
And it came to pass afterward that he loved the woman in the valley of Sorek.
Now wait a minute. Now this chapter began. Samson went to Gaza and saw a harlot. So it starts with him on the purchase. Now, by verse 4, he done saw something else. So, Samson is an easy lover. All right? Go ahead.
Whose name was Delilah. And the masters of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lies, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give you every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver.
Now, Samson is in love with Delilah, but Delilah is connected more to her previous culture than to the man she lays with. Now we have a problem. Which one does she become one with? Does she become one with him? Or is she still one with the culture that she already kept before she met him. Obviously, these people feel like that she will automatically show them that connection because they went to her with this proposal. If they thought that, no, they together like that, no, she gonna tell him the proposal as soon as we say something to her. Go ahead.
And Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me, I pray you, wherein your great strength lies, and wherewith you might be bound to afflict you." And Samson said unto her, "If they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak, and be as another man." Then the masters of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs which had not been dried, and she bound him with them.
So understand now, she's constantly communing with his enemies. Go ahead.
Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said,
Wait a minute. Men with her in the chamber, that's the bedroom. See, do we stop to do enough research to figure out, where you been? Who you with? So what you like? What you into? What's happening? Who your people? They lying in wait in the bedroom to see if what she has told them weakens this man. Now he has the strength that they can't beat him unless they find out some kind of information about him. Go ahead.
And she said unto him, "The Philistines be upon you, Samson." And he brake the withs as a thread of tow is broken when it touches the fire. So his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, "Behold, you have mocked me, and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray you, wherewith you might be bound." And he said unto her, "If they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak, and be as another man." Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said unto him, "The Philistines be upon you, Samson." And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he broke them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, "Hitherto you have mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith you might be bound." And he said unto her, "If you weaveth the 7 locks of my head with the web." And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, "The Philistines be upon you, Samson." And he awaked out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web.
Let me tell you something. I don't know about other people, but I don't like playing around with me when I'm asleep. Now you playing too many games here. But you see what happened when you trimmeth your way to seek love? Even the things that are presented to you, you don't see. Every way that he has told her that he could be bound, she has tried it. Why has he not seen? See, love makes you, a little blind to some things. I remember 1991. I was dating this girl. She was having trouble at the house. I said, "I'm going to save her, Mama. I'm going to save her. I'm going to get an apartment for me in the corner." That was a hard conversation. Wilhelmina had to sit me down and have. But I wanted to save her from every bit of trouble she was possibly going into. It would have completely ruined my life. What I saw about my life was who I was then. Yahweh saw what I am now. On the corner wasn't going to be about this right here. See, the corner would have run all you niggas out of here. All this hanging around. Because that wasn't the person that I was then. But I thought that was the person that I was going to be for the rest of my life. See, I didn't know me then. So how could I know what was best for me and I haven't found who I am? So at some point we all had a little Samson in us. Don't trick yourself. And for you women, don't trick yourself. There's some male Delilahs around here too. Go ahead.
And she said unto him, how can you say, I love you, when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times, and have not told me wherein your great strength lies. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him.
Now he did good until she pressed him. See, he's got this strength. He was able, mentally, he was able to keep dealing with this. So what does that tell you? He knows what she's doing. He's not tricked. At this point, he gets tired. She constantly pressed him, and now he gives up. If you love me, you tell me this. Go ahead.
You know, even in all his answers that he gave before, you can tell because he said, if they do this, if they do that. You're going to tell somebody the strength, you be like, well, look, my strength lies in this, this, and this. But he kept saying, if they.
But see, this is what happens when you know a situation is bad, but you think you can handle it. That's what that is. The situation is bad, and he think he can handle it. Samson was born to be a judge of Israel. But because he has a roaming heart, do you pay attention that the only way Yahweh brings judgment is always through a woman? He fall in love with the wrong woman, and then he end up having to fight them people. So Yahweh is using his whore's desire to bring judgment on the nations. Now, he's just trying to find love. Yahweh using that heart to bring forth judgment. See, sometimes you can be in the midst of something and don't even know what the hell you're doing. Keep reading.
Which regardless of whether he was going to be a judge, whether he went about it that way or not.
You got it.
So that his soul was vexed unto death. That he told her all his heart and said unto her, there has not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto Elohim from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart.
Oh, now she know now. From all the other statements, this is the one I felt his heart pour out on this one. Go ahead.
And also, though, you see there's also change in him. It said he was vexed unto death.
Yes. He spoke differently this time when he revealed all his heart. Go ahead.
And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the masters of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he has showed me all his heart. Then the masters of the Philistines came up unto her and brought money in their hands.
Wait a minute. They done brought the money. They ain't even seen if it worked. No. This time said, no, I'm telling you, I got him. I got the strongest man in the land. And I done made him weak. Go ahead.
And she made him sleep upon her knees. And she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks off his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him.
And she made him sleep upon her knees. Once he's laying on her, he feels secure. Now she had to get some help with this one, because it was being amongst her that made him feel comfortable while somebody else shaved the locks. Remember, in all the other things, she did them. Pay attention. Go ahead.
And she said, the Philistines be upon you, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I'll go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he knew not that Yahweh was departed from him. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass. And he did grind in the prison house.
Right. Back up to Judges chapter 14. I want you to read verses 1 through 3.
And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines.
Now, each one of these stories is some woman. But hey, the beginning of the book, how was the man that was made in the image of Yahweh, how was he deceived? See, the enormous power and strength of a woman is sometimes overlooked. See, man can grab weight in a gym and increase their power. But they ain't made no weight that make you smarter. You don't find that in the gym. You got to be equipped a different kind of way. With all his strength, that day-to-day vexing his soul made him deliver all his strength. Go ahead.
And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I've seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of your brethren, or among all my people, that you go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
So automatically, they knew that look, with the culture of this woman that you're desiring, it is going to bring you trouble. They didn't have to know anything about the woman other than who are folks. See, a lot of y'all who ain't never been raised in the country, you don't understand. That one of the first question they ask you. When you hit the porch, hey, who this young man you bring by here? Oh, this Johnny. Johnny, who your folk? Oh, Jimmy Lee, your daddy? Okay, yeah, you look like Jimmy Lee. Okay. Get the shotgun. Don't get the shotgun. Okay. Right. First question they ask you, who your folks? Why? Because you were raised in a culture. There's a culture in every house. They want to know. Tell me about the house. Go ahead.
You know, Elder, I've kind of read this thing a couple of days ago too. And what kind of gets me is in verse 3, it says, Is there never a woman among the daughters of your brethren? Is there never? Seems like they've been here before.
Exactly. They're there constantly. He is constantly after a woman other than his people. But Yahweh is using this desire of his to deal with those other people. Go ahead.
And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well.
Get her for me, she pleases me well. Now, Samson's true purpose was to save Israel, but he did not have his savior complex in order, so it was always about a woman. So Yahweh uses the women that he is attracted to bring judgment onto the nations that Yahweh is angry with. Let's go to Genesis chapter 24. And like I said, this desire of Samson's is not about the law, because this concept was upon the earth before the law. And they are most definitely male Delilah. So I don't want the sisters to sit back and say, you know, they taken care of on this. No. Because there are many smooth talkers, and we know how a woman loves a smooth talker. Oh, them slick liars, they love them smooth talking liars. Now, our brother tell the truth. He last to get to the finish line. But them liars, Genesis chapter 24, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I'll make you swear by Yahweh, the Elohim of heaven and the Elohim of the earth, that you shall not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell.
He said, promise me, swear you will not take a daughter of the Canaanites for my son to marry. Now, was he prejudiced? Did he not like certain colors of people? No, he know their culture. Now, I seen these women, how they grow up. Do not let my son marry one of these women. Go ahead.
But you shall go on to my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Esau.
You shall go unto my country, unto my kindred. I know how those women raised. See, we have to consider that there's a culture in a house. If people have watched nothing but fighting in their house, they're going to equate that fighting with love. And you may think that because you are a peaceful person, that they will be peaceful to you. They have grown up in the culture of fighting, and they don't feel loved until you hit them. Now, what you gonna do? Go ahead.
And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring your son again unto the land from whence you cameth? And Abraham said unto him, Beware you that you bring not my son thither again. Yahweh Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then you shall be clear of this my oath, only bring not my son thither again.
Bring not my son here again. Let's go to chapter 26. He was pretty serious about where he wanted the wife for his son to come from. And he didn't mention any physical attributes whatsoever. He didn't say, no, man, go over there, because them women thick. That's what he said. He didn't say, no, man, they got a lot of pretty skinnies over there. That ain't what he said. That ain't what he said. No. He was dealing with the spirit of those women, how those women are going to operate, and how is it going to affect his son. Read verses 34 and 35.
And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Berah the Hittite.
Now, this is interesting. So you're going to find that this concept is not just on certain sons, it's there, period. Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith. Go ahead.
And Bashmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Esaac and to Rebekah.
Wait a minute. Grief of mine. It says, it was a grief of mine unto Esau and to Rebekah. We must remember that Esau and Rebekah didn't know each other, but was married all of their days. How was this even possible? What was the common denominator? It was requested to get Rebekah from a certain group of people. The common part with them was the culture they were raised in. How a person is raised is their culture. This is why Esau and Rebekah were grieved concerning their sons. They knew that the culture of the women that their sons married would eventually affect the lives of their sons. So when we deal with culture, then we have to consider something. Culture is something that you watch. I want you to go to Exodus chapter 12.
You know, as we're going there, there was also a part where Rebekah said concerning Jacob, if he married one of them, what's been the purpose of my life?
Right. Did he not see a righteous example in us? Why would he go and deal with these things? Exodus chapter 12 and read 26 and 27.
And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service?
Now, your children are going to ask because they see you doing all the things of the Passover. All right? Go ahead.
That you shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians, and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshipped.
All right. Now, when the kids ask, what mean you by this service? The kid is now ready to hear. What happened when the parents want the kids to know something, but the child is not ready to hear at that particular moment? Or if the child says, I am grown. We must keep in mind that Esau was 40 years old when his parents were grieving concerning his decision. How does Esau perceive the actions of his parents? Does he feel that they are becoming patronizing unto him? As if he doesn't understand, as if he is a child? I want you to read the definition of patronize.
To adopt an air of condescension toward, treat haughtily disapproving, to walk to someone in a way that shows that you believe you are more intelligent or better than them.
Does he feel some kind of way being 40 years old and his parents are grieved at his decision? Wait a minute, man, I'm grown. What is this? Now, keep reading.
Patronize comes from Latin patronos, protector, master, related to pater.
Pater.
Pater, father.
Now, hold on. Pater, which means what?
Father.
All right. So when we read in the book, Cephas was given the name Peter or Pater for father, which is where they get Papa or Pope. So they now have a whole line of popes from a name that they created and invented. Remember, it was Latin. All right. So understand when we say Peter, where that come from. Go ahead.
So if you patronize a person, you talk down to them, pardon me, like a father might do to his child or a master to his apprentice.
Now, this is what we have to consider. When a child is not trying to hear what the parent is attempting to convey at that moment, the parent may be viewed as being patronizing toward the child, which is very interesting because patronizing comes from pater, which means father. So can the father really be patronizing if he's acting like a father since he is the father? This is a very slippery slope because it's not about whether or not we are being patronizing. We have to try to find a way to make the child feel that, not feel that way. So how does a parent keep their child from feeling that way? What if they never ask? Remember, the opening part of understanding culture, Yahweh says, when your child asks. What if the child don't ask? See, the child keeps seeing you doing the Passover. And at some point, the child asks a question. Now the child is ready to hear. Now you can explain what it is you do. But what if they never ask, but you as the parent feel like they need to hear something? It's really all about when they want to hear. But how do you know when another person wants to hear? This is another slippery slope. Because now it is now asking you to be inside the mind of another individual. If that child doesn't say something that lets you know that they're in a point of hearing, now you're taking a risk. And I want to give an example. When a man stares at a woman, when does it get creepy? It's only creepy when she don't want him to stare at her. When she wants a person to look at her, and he can have the same old creepy look. Now, two dudes looking at her the same way. This dude look at her, it's creepy. That dude looking at her, it's inviting. What's the difference? One of them she won't. But how does Captain Creepy know that if she has never opened her mouth and say, I'm not interested? So now there's a pause right there. So if the kid doesn't open their mouth and say something, the parent doesn't know if they're at that point. But as parents, we got to take that chance. You may end up crossing a line, but if that line ends up being where you get to save your child, then damn it, it's just a chance that you have to take. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 33. and let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Go ahead, brother.
You know, Elder, you just brought something of wisdom of like we talked about with that generation before. We're that generation who's trying to be the friend of our child. The older generation told you as it is and left it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at 23, I can remember being in a relationship, and I was going through changes because of the relationship, trying to please that individual. And when I got sick and tired and was done, I went to my mom and I said, I want to talk to you. And she said, yeah, I saw the changes you was going through, but I know I had to wait till you were ready to come talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Because when you try to talk to somebody when they ain't ready, it's going to be a war. It is a war. It is a war. But sometimes as a parent, you just going to have to fight that war. Because it may be by the time they ready to hear, they may be at the point of death.
What's that old saying, I love you enough to fight with you?
Yep. Ezekiel chapter 33, and we're going to read verses 1 through 9.
Again, the word of Yahweh came on to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he sees the sword come upon the land, he blows the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever hears the sound of the trumpet and takes not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him, but he that takes warning shall deliver his soul.
Understand something. Every man over a house is the watchman of that house. There's not just one watchman. Go ahead.
But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his lawlessness. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
He will require that blood at the watchman's hand. He expects the watchman to open his mouth and say, look, here is the danger. I'm telling you the danger ahead if you keep going in this route. Go ahead.
So you, O son of man, I have set you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore you shall hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me.
Right. He takes the whole blowing of the trumpet and he says, no, your mouth is the trumpet. You warn them. I'm going to show you and you're going to tell them. Go ahead.
When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, you shall surely die. If you do not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his lawlessness, but his blood will I require at your hand. Nevertheless, if you warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his lawlessness, but you have delivered your soul.
The watchman has the power in that he has a vantage point that is not visible to the rest of the people. The same vantage point that makes him powerful also makes him responsible. The watchman does not get a pass if the people he has charge over does not want to hear at that particular moment in time. He does not get a pass if the conversation is difficult to have. He is judged on his actions. Did he warn them? The watchman is also not judged according to the adherence of the individual that he speaks to. Whether they listen or not, he has preserved his soul by saying what needs to be said. It is not the watchman's responsibility to make anyone turn left or right, only that they have the information to make an informed decision. Understand, it's not just one watchman. There's a watchman of this house, but then you all have houses of your own. Understand the role and the place that we stand in. Because the things that we have here that we will do on a small level, Yahweh is only making us practice for doing that all over the earth. That's all that we're going to do for today. Looking at the time here, I'm going to say it's going to be 6 o'clock before we do trivia. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.